Hey everyone, welcome back to my indie game design channel. I'm Nick Latre, and today we're diving into one of the most crucial aspects of indie game development, game balancing. Whether it's making sure your game is fair yet challenging enough to keep players engaged, or tweaking mechanics to avoid frustration, balancing is what can make or break your game. I'll be using examples from my current project, Runes of the Abyss, and comparing it to some well-known indie games that nailed their balance. So let's get started. First off, let's break down what we mean by game balancing. So, in simple terms, balancing is the process of fine tuning the rules or mechanics of your game to make sure that your game provides a fair and enjoyable experience. You want your game to be challenging, but not to the point of frustration, right? Too easy and it feels boring, too hard and players might rage quit. So, how do you find that sweet spot? Games like Hollow Knight do a fantastic job balancing combat difficulty with player progression. As you get stronger, so do the enemies, but never in a way that feels unfair. Same with Dead Cells, where the game scales the challenge based on your skill level through procedural generation and item drops. And Slay the Spire, it nails balance by making sure that while each card and relic can be game-changing, it never guarantees victory, maintaining that risk-reward tension. So, one of the key concepts in game balancing is the challenge curve. You don't want to throw everything at your players all at once. You want to ease them in, give them a sense of progression, and then ramp up the difficulty. So let's talk about how I'm doing that in Runes of the Abyss. In Runes of the Abyss, I use a gradual progression system. As you move through the dungeon, the battle encounters are randomized every 30 to 60 seconds, and the enemies are easy. But if you want to go deeper into the dungeon, you'll need more rune keys, which can only be acquired by willingly fighting elite battles, which are a lot more difficult. Sure, you might get through one or two of them unscathed, but eventually you will lose teammates, your most valuable resource. And then the player must choose whether to explore more at the risk of losing more teammates, or fighting the boss to progress to the next level. This helps keeping the gameplay fresh and challenging without feeling overwhelming. Ori and the Blind Forest is another great example of a well-paced challenge curve. The game starts with simple platforming and basic movement abilities, but as you progress, it gradually introduces new mechanics like double jumps, wall climbs, and energy-based abilities. The key is that the difficulty steadily increases, giving players enough time to master each new mechanic before introducing something more complex, all while keeping the gameplay engaging and rewarding. Another important part of game balancing is matching the game's difficulty to player skill. It's not necessarily about making the game easy, it's about ensuring that the challenge meets the player's abilities. Supergiant Games did something like this in Hades with its God Mode feature. While it doesn't alter the core difficulty, it adds a mechanic where players get progressively tougher each time they die, which helps them overcome challenges without sacrificing the game's core design. Let's talk about one of my favorite aspects of game balancing: risk versus reward. Players should feel like they're constantly making meaningful choices. Do they go after that high-risk treasure chest knowing they'll be weaker for the next fight, or do they play it safe? This balance of reward and punishment is crucial to making gameplay engaging. In Runes of the Abyss, I implemented a reward system that encourages players to take calculated risks. For example, you might find a powerful artifact, but using it grants your enemy the same bonus as you, making the next battle unpredictable. The player has to decide whether the boost is worth the cost. Slay the Spire and Faster Than Light both excel at this. In Slay the Spire, you constantly face tough decisions. Do you fight an elite enemy for a rare relic, or take an easier path and miss out on potential power? This is what keeps players coming back. The uncertainty makes every run exciting. Finally, let's talk about loot and progression. How do you make sure players feel rewarded without becoming overpowered too quickly? In Runes of the Abyss, I've created a class progression system that provides players with powerful teammates, but only after certain milestones. Once they reach the second act, players will unlock the ability to merge two of their team members together to create an even stronger, newer member, but at the cost of sacrificing the two initial members. This ensures that players still feel rewarded for finding their favorite teammate in Act 1, but never get too strong too early. Dead Cells handles this concept beautifully. The game's loot system is built around choices. Do you pick up that rare weapon now or save for a better one later? It forces you to think strategically, ensuring that the loot system feels integrated with the overall challenge of the game. Balancing your game is an ongoing process. It's a balance between art and science, and it often requires feedback from playtesters to get it right. Whether you're developing a fast-paced action game, a tactical JRPG, or a deep roguelite like Runes of the Abyss, balancing the experience is the key to keeping players engaged and coming back for more. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more game dev insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community to stay updated on the development of Runes of the Abyss and share your own game dev experiences. Catch you in the next one.